Good morning, students. Today we are going to start chapter 7 of our NCERT book, class 11th, and that is structural organization in animals. So in this chapter, we are going to study in detail about the animal tissues. The student, all of you know very well, we come across variety of animals in our surroundings. So all of these animals may be unicellular or multicellular in nature. As we know, students, if an animal is unicellular, that means its body is made up of only one cell. And if an animal is multicellular, for example, human beings, then the body is made up of many cells. So in case of a unicellular organism, the single cell is performing all the metabolic activities of the animal body. That is, this cell is concerned with respiration, circulation, digestion, reproduction, and any other metabolic function that is happening in our body. But in case of a multicellular organism, as the multicellular organism is advanced and complex, so its body is made up of so many cells, and all of these cells, they are responsible for their specific functions. This means there is a division of labor among the cells in the body of a multicellular organisms. So here, what is the special case? That these cells, which are actually the structural and functional unit of life, these cells, they later aggregates to form tissues, and tissues, they form later on organs, and organs, when worked in a coordinated fashion, they form the organ system. And in this way, so many organ systems, they are coordinating various functions in the body of an organism. So in this chapter, we are going to study about the various roles that are performed by these animal tissues in the body of an animal. So students, the animal tissues, on the basis of their structural and functional modifications, these animal tissues, they are divided into four broad categories. Okay, student, my first slide is visible to all of you. So here, I'm going to tell you the definition of tissues first. So what are these tissues actually? So these tissues are group of similar cells along with their intercellular substances, and these cells, they are not only similar in their structure, but they are also performing similar functions, and thus this aggregate or group of cells are known as tissues. So students, the animal tissues on the basis of their structural and functional modifications are broadly categorized into four major categories, and these are epithelial tissues, which are simply known as epithelium. Second is connective tissues, as the name itself indicates, they connect various body organs and responsible for their coordinated functions. And third one is muscular tissues. These are related with muscles. So here various type of muscles and what kind of movements are performed by these muscles, they come under these muscular tissues. And fourth one are the neural tissues. The neural tissues, they are responsible for the various types of functions that are performed by the nervous fibers. So these are the four major categories of animal tissues. So here I have given one flow chart where all the four animal tissues are visible to you. Epithelial tissues mainly concerned with protection, and they are also performing various other functions such as secretion, absorption, etc. Second is connective tissue. So connective tissue's main function is binding. In addition to this, it also provides support and transport various substances within the body. Third one is muscular tissues. So muscular tissues are responsible for variety of movements and locomotion that is done by an organism. And fourth one is nervous tissue. So nervous tissue are responsible for various type of control and coordination related activities in the body. So these are the TS of some of the important tissues that is visible to you in the slide: connective tissues, epithelial tissues, muscle tissues, and nervous tissue. These are the transverse section of the tissues. So next slide, which is visible to you, is of classification of the animal tissues. So students, this is a flow chart which tells you how these animal tissues are classified. So we have classified the animal tissues into major categories as four major categories: epithelial tissues, muscular tissues, connective tissues, and nervous tissues. So first is epithelial tissues. I have written the function that are performed by the respective tissues at the top of their name. The epithelial tissues, they are merely concerned with protection. So these epithelial tissues, they form a lining or a covering of various body organs and their glands, ducts, and the surface of your body. And it is also responsible for departing your body from the external environment. So these epithelial tissues are further subcategorized as squamous epithelial tissue, which may be simple and stratified. And second is cuboidal epithelial tissues having cube-like cells. And third one is columnar epithelial tissues having column-like cells. And fourth one is ciliated cuboidal or columnar epithelial tissue having cilia present on their surface. And last one is glandular columnar or cuboidal epithelial tissues. So these are basically the glands and they are responsible for secretion. And among the muscular tissues, we have three major subcategories. Number one is striated muscles. So here these muscles are known as striated muscles because of certain specific type of designs or striations present on their surface. Their surface is not smooth. Second one is non-striated muscles, which are also known as the smooth muscles, because such type of striations are not present on their surface. That's why they are known as non-striated muscles. And third one is cardiac muscles. As the name itself indicates, these are the special type of muscles that are present in our heart. So in case of human heart, the cardiac musculature, it covers the whole surface of the heart and it is responsible for various rhythmic signals that are created in our heart. And third major category of tissue is connective tissues. So these connective tissues are further categorized as skeletal connective tissues, which are of two types, bone and cartilage. And second is supporting connective tissue. So supporting connective tissues, two things comes under this. One is tendons, which joins muscles with the bones. And second one is ligament, which joins bones with the bones. And third is fluid connective tissue. So here we have blood or lymph. Blood we know very well. And what is lymph? So lymph is a special type of circulating fluid that generally circulates in the lower part of our body, that is in the abdominal region of our body. So why it is known as lymph? Because of the presence of special type of defense related cells which are known as lymphocytes present in them, so it is known as lymph. And beside the fluid connective tissue, we have two more, that is areolar connective tissue and the adipose connective tissue. Among both of these, adipose connective tissues contain special type of fat storing cells which are known as adipocytes. And the last category is nervous tissue. So nervous tissue, they are basically responsible for various type of control and coordination related activities in our body. Okay, students, I am taking the first type of the animal tissue and that is known as the epithelial tissue. So as I have told you earlier, these epithelial tissues are simply known as epithelium. So this type of tissue have a free surface. And if we are talking more about this tissue, so what is their function? Their function is that their free surface either faces a body fluid or it faces the outside of the environment. That means the skin of your body, which generally comes in contact with the external environment. The skin have this special type of tissues which are known as epithelial tissues that are present over the surface of the skin. And later on, beside these, what about the type of arrangement of cells in these epithelial tissues? So here the cells are compactly arranged. The cells are compactly arranged and with very little intercellular matrix present in them. So spaces are very less between the cells. And here we have two categories of epithelial tissues. Number one is simple epithelial tissues and number two is compound epithelial tissues. So see the diagrams of both type of tissues. So first picture is of simple epithelial tissues. Here the simple epithelial tissue consists of a single layer of cells. And these singular layer of cells, they have irregular boundaries. That is simple epithelial tissues. And second one is compound epithelial tissues. So here instead of a single layer, so many layers are present. So these tissues consist of multi-layered cells. So that's why they are known as the compound epithelial tissues. Okay, students, first of all, I am going to take simple epithelial tissues. So there are three types of simple epithelial tissues. First one is squamous epithelium. Second is cuboidal epithelium. And third one is columnar epithelium. So the diagram of all the three types of epithelial tissues is visible to you. See the first one, squamous epithelium. And it may be simple squamous epithelium having flat cells with irregular boundaries, or it may be stratified squamous epithelium. The third picture is of columnar epithelium cells. The columnar epithelium cells mostly consist of tall and slender column-like cells. And fourth picture is of cuboidal epithelium. This means in cuboidal epithelium, tube-like cells are present. Okay, students. So among these simple epithelial tissues, first number is of squamous epithelium. So as I told you earlier, these squamous epithelium tissues, they consist of a single layer of flattened cells. And these flat cells have irregular boundaries. Okay, students, where these tissues are present, so these tissues are present in the walls of the blood vessels. So there are various types of blood vessels that are present in your body. For example, arteries, veins, and capillaries. And beside blood vessels, they may also be found in the air sacs of the lungs. So what are these air sacs? These air sacs actually are the alveoli that is present at the tips of the bronchioles, and these bronchioles are the narrow tubes which generally arise from bronchi which enters the two respective lungs in human body. And third one is they are involved in variety of functions, and their function is mostly in case of air sacs of lungs, they are forming diffusion boundary. That means a diffusion boundary is a site in the alveoli or the air sacs where the exchange of gases takes place, that is exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen gases from the alveolar surface. So here carbon dioxide and oxygen is exchanged between the alveolar surface, and they are in this diffusion boundary play an important role in case of respiration. So the second category is of cuboidal epithelial tissues. As I have already told you, this comes also under simple epithelial tissues and they composed of single tube-like cells. So there is a single layer of tube-like cells, and mostly this type of tissues are found in various types of glands and their ducts and the tubular parts of the nephrons of the kidney. So student, nephron here is the structural and functional unit of kidney, and these are the filtering units that are present in the kidney. So here the function, because they are present in the renal tubules of the kidney, so their main function is secretion and absorption as various renal tubules. They are secreting different type of substances, and they are also involved in the process of absorption of the essential nutrients when the formation of the urine takes place in the renal tubules. So their main function is secretion and absorption. And here one thing I want to mention here is that in case of renal tubule, one of the renal tubule that is known as proximal convoluted tubule, here the epithelium, it have special type of microvilli. Why this microvilli is present? Because it increases the surface area for the absorption of the various substances that are present in the renal tubule. Okay, student, this is the diagram of the cuboidal epithelium tissues. So first picture is the diagram showing the simple cuboidal epithelium. So here so many tube-like cells, they are arranged in a particular pattern, and nucleus is also present in the cell, and they have abundance of cytoplasm. All of these cells are arranged on a basement membrane. In the second picture, the TS, that is the transverse section of the cuboidal epithelial tissues, is visible to you. So when you look at the slide under the microscope, then this type of transverse section of the cuboidal epithelium tissue is visible to you. Okay, students, now we are going to study about columnar epithelium. So these columnar epithelium, as the name itself indicates, consist of column-like cells. So here there is a single layer of tall and cylindrical cells which are in the form of a column. So here the nuclei that are present at the base of the cells. And what about their free surface? Their free surface again have microvilli. so that to enhance the surface area for the purpose of absorption. And where these tissues are generally present, so these tissues are generally found in the lining of your stomach and your intestine, and their main function is secretion and absorption. As you know that in your stomach, special type of glands are present, and these glands are the gastric glands. So these gastric glands, they secrete different type of substances such as HCl acid, mucus, and a special type of enzyme present in your stomach responsible for protein digestion, and that is pepsin. And why it is present in the intestine? Because your small intestine is concerned with the major absorption of different substances in their body. So here they are playing the role of absorption. Okay, student, this is the diagram of the columnar epithelium tissues. So here tall and cylindrical cells are present, column-like cells are present, arranged on a basement membrane. And this is the TS. In the second picture, transverse section of the columnar epithelium tissue is visible to you. Okay, students. So here the cuboidal and the columnar epithelial tissues, they are further subcategorized as ciliated epithelial tissues or glandular epithelial tissues. So here I am going to tell you about the ciliated epithelial tissues. So if the columnar or the cuboidal epithelial tissues, they have cilia present on their surface, then they are known as the ciliated epithelial tissues. So here cilia are the locomotory organs, as all of you know very well. So cilia is concerned with locomotion or movement. So here the locomotion or the movement of what takes place inside the body. So their main function is to move various particles in between the various organs of your body. That is movement of the mucus in specific direction. Their function is, and mainly they are present in the inner surface of your hollow organs. There are different type of hollow organs present in your body. For example, your bronchioles, that are narrow tube-like structures that arise from the bronchi, and these bronchi are further arise from the trachea that are present in your respiratory system. And they are also found in the fallopian tubes too. So what are these fallopian tubes? These fallopian tubes are the another name of the oviduct. As we all know, in the female reproductive system, one pair of ovaries are present. And from these ovaries, one pair of oviduct arises. And each month, one ovary, it produces one ovum. So that ovum or ova, you can say, passes in these fallopian tubes. And from these fallopian tubes, it moves with the help of the ciliated epithelial tissues towards the uterus, where after fertilization, it gets mounted. Okay, students, a picture of ciliated epithelium is visible to all of you. So here so many hair-like structures are present over the surface of column-like or cuboidal type of epithelial tissues. So these hair-like structures are actually the cilia, and they are responsible for the movement of various particles or various things that generally move in the respective organs of our body, which are generally the hollow organs. Okay, student, the last category is of the glandular epithelium. As the name itself indicates, this type of epithelium tissues, they generally behave as glands. So some of the columnar or the ciliated epithelial cells, they are functioning as glandular epithelium, and their main function is secretion. Here as secretion term is associated with glands. So these glandular epithelial tissues, they are mainly of two types. They may be unicellular glandular epithelial tissues, or they may be multicellular glandular epithelial tissues. So unicellular glandular epithelial tissues, they generally consist of single layer or isolated glandular cells. And for example, such type of unicellular glandular epithelial tissues are found in the goblet cells of the alimentary canal. So here your alimentary canal is actually your food pipe, which starts from your mouth and ends at your anus. And second one is multicellular glandular epithelial tissues. So these are known as multicellular because they consist of cluster of cells. And here the example is salivary glands. As you all know, students, you have studied in class 10. Three types of salivary glands are present in your mouth. And these are submaxillary, sublingual, and subparotid. So this is example of multicellular glandular epithelium tissues. Okay, students, and I have introduced the term glands here in case of glandular epithelial tissues. So on the basis of mode of pouring of their secretion, the glands are divided into two categories. They may be exocrine glands or they may be endocrine glands. So exocrine glands are those glands which have their own ducts. And these glands, they secrete variety of substances such as mucus, saliva, ear bags, oil, milk, digestive enzymes, various type of digestive juices, and other cell products. So all of these products, they are released through these ducts and tubes. And besides these, endocrine glands are also present. So these endocrine glands are also known as the ductless gland you have learned last year. So these endocrine glands, their secretion have a special name. They are known as the hormones. So these hormones are always produced in trace amount. And they are the chemical messengers that are secreted by these glands. Though these glands do not have their ducts, so they pour their secretion directly into the bloodstream. And in this way, through the blood, they reaches their target organs and they are performing specific type of functions. Okay, student, that's all in today's